Good day, good people of the world. Today is Monday, March 27th, 2017, and these videos come out approximately every couple of weeks, and we're talking about time as it plays out in 3D reality. We're talking about the forces of nature and how they affect us as a collective. And so these videos come out approximately every 2 weeks because it correlates with the lunar cycle. And the lunar cycle is a monthly cycle, about 2 weeks from the new moon to the full moon, 2 weeks from the full moon to the new moon. And so today, Monday the 27th, we have a new moon in Aries this evening. And if you're on the west coast of the United States, it will technically be the 28th, early in the morning, where this new moon is taking place. And Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. We're talking about initiation. We're talking about birthing. We're talking about new directions being born. And it's a very exciting, physical, energetic period that is correlated with the vernal equinox every year. The vernal equinox is the moment that the sun enters the sign of Aries. This is how the tropical zodiac is determined, through the relationship of the sun and the earth. And so about a week ago on March 20th, was the spring equinox here in the northern hemisphere. In the southern hemisphere, it is fall time. But irrelevant of where you are on the planet, we are beginning a new zodiacal year. This is the new year, according to the zodiac and astrology in many respects. And there is this opportunity to be shedding old skins. There's this correlation of spring cleaning where we are purging out, getting rid of the clutter, the debris that no longer really has any value or necessity in our life. And so, despite the sun moving into Aries on March 20th, the spring equinox, we've still been dealing with the old lunar cycle that began a month ago with a solar eclipse in Pisces at the end of February. And so that lunar cycle, the eclipse cycle, has still been closing this last week, although the sun has already pushed into the fresh sign of Aries. And so the last few days has been the old moon in Pisces disintegrating into the new. There is a dying, there is a letting go, and this last month being initiated with that solar eclipse in Pisces has had this type of theme: uncertainty, emotional mugginess, confusion. As beneath the surface, there has been huge opportunity for deep soul healing, and this will continue very much so through the month of April. But we need to begin this report by giving us some very good pats on the back. I like to begin with pats on the back for what we've already accomplished this last month, because this was the last eclipse, the last South Node Pisces eclipse that will take place for another 18 years when the lunar nodes go all the way around the zodiac. And so we will have eclipses in Pisces 9 years from now, but they will be North Node solar eclipses rather than South Node solar eclipses. The South Node solar eclipse a month ago is bringing up deep past issues related to the past age, related to our own relationship to ourselves as souls, as spirit. And there's been a lot of Pisces being this disintegrating, potentially wanting to escape, uncertainty and discomfort, wanting us to hide our head under the sand, because again, the feelings are deep, they're murky, and they're difficult to grasp. Pisces is an ethereal, mystical, final sign of the zodiac, the mystery with a capital M. And out of that mystery, life is born, and new patterns initiate. And the cycle of evolution that is truly a spiral always continues. And so it's really not until today, not until this video comes out and you're listening to it, that this springtime, new birth, fresh energy is really being born with this new moon in Aries tonight. And so, really this new birthing energy, I'm going to say, is going to continue throughout the month of April into May as well. because we are going to have Venus stationing mid-April on Chiron. Again, we're going to talk about this continued opportunity for very deep soul healing in a very serious and real way is going on this month of April. And then in May, the moon's north node will shift out of Virgo, where the moon's north node has been for the last year and a half, and will move into the sign of Leo and remain there for the next year and a half. And this cusp of Virgo into Leo, because the moon's nodes moves retrograde backwards through the zodiac, also is a symbolic point of birth. Virgo being the priestess, the goddess, the virgin, and Leo being the solar child, the son of God. The Leo-Virgo Cusp also symbolizes this birthing of the innocence of our soul, of the release of our inner child, and of the birthing of our own unique individual capacity to be a creator in this world, in this reality. And so this birthing fresh opportunity for us to rekindle a relationship with ourselves, with our own inner child and authentic desires, is really beginning with this new moon in Aries tonight, and will continue through the next couple months until we are born into the north node in Leo, year and a half to follow. And so this last year and a half, again, north node in Virgo has been about clearing up, cleaning up, fixing, making it real, making it practical, and that's been the challenge. With the south node being in Pisces the last year and a half, with this solar eclipse in Pisces a month ago, there has been propensity to get lost in ideals, to be confused and uncertain, disintegrating in terms of what am I, who am I, what am I doing? There's been people going off the deep end this last year and a half, getting lost in our own worlds of imagination, getting lost in the world of blind faith and belief that may not actually assist our practical integration as human beings and our capacity to actually help and serve others, heal ourselves, others, and this world, has been the priority, and it's been the struggle because of what culture, religion, our conditioning has given us in the past. And so, again, a lot is wrapping up and culminating with this new moon, and there's also the opportunity for us to birth a new relationship to ourself with the new moon in Aries. And so what is Aries, ruled by the planet Mars? Well, Mars is our instinctual, animalistic desire. Mars is the sword that carves the way. Aries is the trailblazer that initiates new directions, going where no one has gone before. And the wisdom of Aries is one person can make a difference in the world by owning up to what uniqueness you are. Taking that step that nobody else has taken before is what initiates the capacity to lead others into new directions and new frontiers that previously we did not know were possible. That is the highest potential of Aries. So Mars is the sword that clears away the debris, the confusion, the clutter, the disintegration of this Pisces last month. Now Mars is also a phallic sign. That's that glyph of Mars. Mars is our physical energy, our willpower, and it can be said to be our libido, our sexual drive. And this is a fundamental part of who we are, irrelevant of our age, irrelevant of what we're doing literally sexually. We're talking about the blood in our veins, the physical fire that motivates us, that gives us energy. You know, Mars is testosterone. Aries signatures are people who love to adventure and accomplish and set off and work off and be strong and maybe show off, yeah? It's that confidence in ourself, to trust ourself and our direction even if others are not giving us the green light, to be the pioneer, to be the initiator, and to know what it is that we as individuals truly want. Is Mars and is Aries. And there is nothing inherently wrong with selfish desires, because each of us are unique and individual souls who have come here on unique and individual missions, which means that each of our desires are unique and they are guiding us. The higher octave of Mars is Pluto, the desires of our soul. The relationship between Mars and Pluto is how our soul can actualize our desires in an individual way. In that type of daily, practical, what you're doing, what your goals are, what you want to do, aka selfish desires, can be united with the greater desires of our soul and of our world. And so this new moon tonight at 7 degrees 37 minutes of Aries is conjoined retrograde Venus. And the Sabian symbol for this, it's going to round up to 8 degrees Aries, is a woman's hat with streamers blows in the wind. And what this means is it's the first attempt, according to Dane Rudhyar, at exteriorization, embodiment in consciousness. There is a fresh, birthing, new pair of shoes, new pair of jeans, which we are breaking in, which we have the opportunity to see, attempt at this exteriorization of what desires and reflections have been birthing inside of us through this Venus retrograde. And we'll talk about how Mercury's about to retrograde, Saturn's about to retrograde. Yes, there is a lot of reflection, of recoursing, of redirecting that has been going on with this Venus retrograde and will continue. And so, with Aries being the first sign of the zodiac, and you can also correlate Aries to the new phase of the moon, which is always the first few days following the new moon, there is this fresh new energy. And it's like breaking in a new pair of pants. It is something that has to be explored. There's sort of a fake it until you make it type of dynamic with Aries and the new phase, where it's about taking this fresh new born energy and just seeing how it's working, test it out, trial and error, what's working, what's not, roll it back and reflect. Okay, what does this say about me? How are other people receiving it? And then we go back out there, we explore it, experiment it again, etc. That's the type of dynamic we can be really working with throughout the month of April. Although I'm also going to recommend that we need to be very, very flexible and forgiving with ourselves. In the midst of these planets changing directions, recoursing, reflecting, when we're born, we don't hit the ground running. If we did, that might end up a little messy, or someone might get hurt. We are not meant to land on our feet, stand up, and run. We have to grow into and break in the new pair of shoes, etc. But there is a question that is being asked. There is an invitation for our journey to unfold. And that's what the new moon says. It's a seed that is sown. And this seed is asking us the question, who are you really? That's maybe what I'll title this video. Who are you really? Is this new moon in Aries conjoined the retrograde Venus. And Venus is moving retrograde and will conjoin asteroid Pallas Athena at 0 degrees Aries, the Aries point, on April 1st. And there is a lot of opportunity for learning, for discovery of our own inherent nature. Our inner nature is largely what Venus reflects, particularly when she's retrograde. Venus is the magnetic relationship within ourselves that becomes reflected off of others. Yes, our friends typically like the same things that we do. The people that we date, that we fall in love with, there are some values that are magnetically reflected. And of course, there is oftentimes magnetic repulsion that happens between us and other people. But those things can inform us of what we really value by seeing and feeling what others value that's different from us. We can learn about what we truly desire and what we truly like by noticing what separates us from other people, what distinguishes us. And yes, that can sometimes create an experience of loneliness or isolation, but even that is a gift to us for us to own what makes us special, what makes us unique and individual. And again, this is how we become leaders in our own world. This is how one person can make a difference. And so Venus has been retrograde the last month in Aries, inviting us. What do we really value in ourselves? Venus is the feminine principle, having to do with what we cherish in our hearts. Venus is love. What do we love about ourselves? Who are we really? And there is an invitation here to see how our self-image, as it has been formed in the past, how might it limit us? And how much has this self-image not truly been created by our own heart and desires and our own connection to what we regard as our individual path? How has our self-image perhaps been shaped by duties, obligations, and the desires of other people? Is it because we feel guilty because we're different from others? Do we have to conform to the established belief, religion, way of doing things in order to feel good about ourselves? And if we do that, isn't that a subtle way of self-sacrificing who we really are and becoming a cookie-cutter version of somebody else's reality? And isn't that sort of shooting us in the foot? And doesn't that prevent actual initiation, birth, pioneering, invention, discovery, realization from happening? It certainly does. This new moon in Aries is an opportunity for us to recourse our direction in a way that is united with who we truly are. And again, this is a time to try out the new direction. Okay, this is how I feel. This is who I am. Let's set course. Let's make it real. But Mars being the libido, being physical strength, he can be angry, he can be aggressive, he can be reactive. And we have to be patient and flexible enough to give ourselves the experimentation that we need in order for this integration of who we really are to come into its fullest, most powerful embodiment. In the midst of this is a lot of deep, deep healing going on. This has been asteroid Pallas Athena conjoined Chiron the last several weeks. Pallas Athena, again, I did a video on. I'll include a little annotation where you can watch that video below. She is a wisdom goddess. She is a goddess of healing. And with Chiron, there's been a lot of illumination to our own wounds, to our own past experiences, and the opportunity for us to reflect on our past, on our wounds, in order to bring healing awareness to those places. So realizations and discoveries can be made, tools and healing medicines can be discovered, and then we can bring those places, our past experiences, our past woundedness, into the future, where those things that hurt us, those hindrances, that sense of abandonment, that sense of inadequacy, that sense of I don't know who I am, and I don't feel approved of, can be transmutated into my unique journey and experience that initiates me into being a teacher of the unique things that I have learned on my individual journey. Because others have not lived my journey, I have skills, I have gifts to share with others. This is how we transmutate the wound, the hindrance, the pain into a gift. And this is alchemy, changing lead into gold. It's not literal, it's spiritual. It's the opportunity for us to see everything in life as an opportunity for growth and learning, no matter what the experience is, because that's the truth of reality. And so, Venus is going to move retrograde back into Pisces on Sunday, April 2nd, and then station at the final degrees of Pisces, 27 degrees conjoined Chiron, square to Saturn. So in your natal charts, look up the final degrees of the mutable signs, around 27 degrees of Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, Pisces. This is where there's going to be deep, significant, real healing going on. So if it's your sun, it's your identity being healed. If it's your moon, it's your emotional core. Venus, obviously we're all dealing with this healing in our relationships. And so Venus stationed on Chiron the whole month of April is time for us to get down with what we really need as souls, what we really value, what we really cherish. And how is that being received, reciprocated, and shared with others? And it is a time for us to take our healing seriously with the square to Saturn. If we don't take our own healing seriously in ourselves and in our relationships, it will be forced upon us with the square to Saturn. It's very important that we understand that we have to work with Saturn. We have to get down to business. We have to take our healing journey seriously. The individual healing journey. A lot of people try to bypass the individual healing journey through religion. Like, oh, if I do this practice, if I do this thing, I will somehow heal all of the past stuff that I'm no longer acknowledging or looking at. Well, we have to acknowledge and look at our past experiences because they will remain with us until they are resolved. And we know if they're resolved or not. Check with yourself. Is it resolved? How do you check with yourself? Through your feelings. Is there pain there? Is there something being reflected through our relationship that is letting us know about some of our past unresolved experiences? And we can accept that as the opportunity to go there and do that healing, to have those real important conversations. Mercury is moving into Taurus this Friday, the 31st, and is also stationing. He is going to station on April 9th at 4 degrees of Taurus, trine to the North Node in Virgo. That's a very good sign for this Mercury stationing, trine to the North Node. It means that these conversations are important. They need to happen. We do want to be communicating. Taurus is again looking to Venus, our values, what makes us feel good, what makes us feel comfortable. It's time to express our own nurturance needs. It's time to express what we as souls yearn for. As Venus stationed on Chiron is an opportunity for us to heal the innocence of our own souls. Again, this next couple months is the birthing of the new solar child. It's the opportunity for us to come into our inner child, which is the creative birthing force, the source of all life. The sun just releases its solar rays, impregnating the planets with new life because the sun is just singing its song in an unabashed, spontaneous, playful way. This is the child. The child says, "Hey Ma, I want ice cream," if the child wants ice cream. It's not going to hesitate. It might be considered a little selfish because that's what the child really wants. It brings joy to the child. And so similarly, this spontaneity has been wounded in us in the past. We've been told it's time to grow up, it's time to be real. Your spiritual journey is about hard work. You have original sin. You've got to apologize. You need to confess, blah, 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 blah. And all of this covers over that spontaneity and exuberance of the inner child with a thick layer of concrete. And we have to dig through that concrete before we can re-access that warmth, that life, and that exuberance that is the wisdom of our heart speaking through us, being released. Our creative capacity is that love, is that heart, is that inner child that is much closer to our soul's wisdom than the personification of an old man or woman. Yes, we have to have the grown-up there. That's the Saturn square. We have to take our healing seriously. There are adjustments that do need to be made. We can't just let our partner abuse us forever. We can't just be in an abusive situation ourselves forever. We can't be taken advantage of or victimize ourselves in order to take advantage of others subtly or unconsciously. These are not excusable things. Our inner grown-up has to know the curriculum that we are learning and growing through. And if we can do that, and if we can practically take one step after the other, there's so much opportunity for this healing to happen that will unite that sage brilliance of the inner child with the real-world practical wisdom of the war veteran inner adult. This is the opportunity here. Jupiter is also square to Pluto this whole month. First time he was square to Pluto was in November, and he will turn direct and square Pluto once more at the end of this year in August. There is a lot of opportunity for our own understanding, philosophy, in terms of the depth of life to evolve through this Jupiter-Pluto square. Jupiter is in Libra, which is our understanding of the other gender, of the other race, of the other nation. Libra is the other anything. There is two sides to any coin. And Jupiter in Libra is teaching us how to be unbiased. Who are you really? Are you man? Are you woman? Are you white person, black person? Are you Christian? Are you Hindu? Are you astrologer? Are you Reiki master? Are you electric engineer? Are you schoolroom teacher? Do any of these things say, who are you really? And we must invite the question, How much has our self-image been shaped by outer influence, and how much is it authentically us? Because we are complicated souls, aren't we? The nature of Pluto is you have lived innumerable lifetimes. It's not like you've been a man and then a woman. It's not like you've always been an astrologer, or you've always been an artist, or you've always been a political advocate. Maybe you were a patriarch and you dominated other people, and then in your next life you felt bad, and so you went into a life as of a prostitute as a woman, and then in your next life you felt bad about being dirty as a prostitute, and you went into a life as a monk, and then in your next life you felt bad for the guilt created from being a monk, and so you had to go back into being a prostitute to heal that guilt, etc. This is what it's like to be a soul. It's not easy or simple or black or white at all. And the more that we assume and label ourselves that way, the more inauthentic and disconnected from our truth and our reality we become. We become disempowered through that type of cheap, surface level assignment of this is who I am, this is what I represent, this is my mission, this is good, in a overly simplistic black and white way. What does it mean to be truly unbiased? Is to have empathy and understanding and compassion for the flip side of any circumstance. And that flip side does get experienced, particularly if we don't have any understanding and we project or scapegoat the flip side. Well, that's pretty much setting up an intention from our soul to experience the flip side later on. And so let's learn about this depth. Let's learn about the depth in our own soul and the depth in other people's souls, so we can evolve our own philosophy to achieve a deeper understanding of harmony, balance, mutual reciprocation between self and other, the balance between the masculine and the feminine that each and every one of us as souls does possess. That is the opportunity with Jupiter square to Pluto this year. And honestly, this is the year that we need to be really going for it and birthing these new directions and coming into these new roles. And really, when the North Node moves into Leo in May through the rest of this year, we want to be getting into this triumphant stage of our souls being healers and leaders, and we are the creators of the future. Because the next several years, the next decade, it's a lot of collective hard work. We're going into a temporary winter time, and we need that inner fire. We need that inner flame, that heart that knows that we're here, not for a vacation, but to share our truth and our experience in a way that does inspire and uplift the collective. And until we find a way to offer our individual truth back to others in a way that is healing and uplifting to others, we will be dissatisfied on some level or another. So as the moon's North Node approaches this Virgo-Leo cusp, this is the masterful learning that can take place. And the North Node's already at 3 degrees Virgo, and will be conjunct that cusp really the next several months, pretty much through the end of the year. That Leo-Virgo cusp is what initiates us into using our creative individual power, our heart's solar energy of Leo, the solar child, and using it in service, in medicine, in healing, uplifting, practically, tangibly, provably to others through the sign of Virgo. And that's what initiates us into the spiritual mysteries. The same way the Sphinx, which represents that Virgo-Leo point, lower half Lion, upper half Virgin, the Sphinx is what initiated people into the mysteries of the Great Pyramid. And so, lots of excitement going on. Very happy to be here and to talk about and share these things with you today. I think I pretty much touched on my notes here. Just one more thing here. Deep healing and awareness bestows humility. This awareness of these past lives, these past experiences, the fact that we are more full spectrum than what may meet the eye, that bestows humility. So it is a journey. It's not a race to the finish. Getting down with our healing is not a race to the finish. It is a committance to our journey that may very well be an eternal journey, as we're always aspiring towards the ideal, but none of us are perfect. That's humility, that's honesty, that's authenticity. So we are many experiences composited. We are all of our past lives composited into the one individual that we are. And that is your power, and that is your gift. And so I wish you all the best in this birthing energy. And I wish you all the best in this unfolding and this fresh exuberance that is coming. I will be speaking more about the Leo-Virgo Cusp in Costa Rica when the North Node will be exactly on that point at Astrology Rising. And for those of you who cannot attend, that will be recorded. And so this will be presented later on as well. I am also doing another Q&A session on April 12th. I will have the link in the video description below. It's rosalilahealing.simpletix.com for anybody who wants to learn astrology. Got any burning astrological questions? It's the perfect opportunity for us to come together as a group, learn from one another in that type of group dynamic, and it can be a fun, laid-back way to make some connections with some other like minds as well. And there is a great opportunity for that continuing through the rest of this year, with Jupiter being in Libra, with Venus stationing. I forgot to mention Saturn is also stationing on April 6th at 27 degrees. Again, check the late degrees of the mutable signs. That's where this maturing is going. So continued restructuring, reformulating, getting in touch with our inner nature is still continuing to go on, and we can support and reaffirm each other that it is going in the right direction through that type of reflection and relationship. We can see each other in our depth. Yeah, we want to have relationships, friends, lovers, others who do, astrologers, healers, who offer that type of objective reflection back to you. Okay, that is who you are. It's lovely to see you. Be who you truly are. Aha, I knew I was forgetting something. And so, I cannot always keep up with the amount of requests for astrology readings. Speaking of objective help from astrologers, healers, and helpers, I'd be more than happy to provide suggestions to anybody looking for a good astrologer, a good counselor, a good therapist, a good healer. I can provide to you the people that I know and have very good experience with if anybody is looking for such connections. It is a wonderful time to get down to business with this type of healing work, and so many different modalities exist out there that are all such amazing gifts. And so I'd be more than happy to share these things with you. Just shoot me an email.